Hello everyone. Today I will be presenting a scholarly article titled Creativity is a process, not an event. Many people believe that crea- creativity happens suddenly, like a moment of inspiration, of a flash of a genius. We often imagine creative people having bri- brilliant ideas appear instantly in their minds. However, this article challenges that belief. Belief. The author argues that creativity is not a single moment, but a long-term process that develops through time, effort, the continuous practice. At the beginning of the article, the author introduces the famous story of Isaac Newton and the failing apple. The story is often used to represent a sound creative breakthrough. However, the article points out that Newton did not immediately create theories of gravity after seeing the apple fail. In fact, they spent nearly 20 years developing and refining his idea before publishing his work. This example shows that what we often remember as a creative moment is usually only starting point. Behind every great idea, this is a long period of thinking, testing, and learning. The author used this story to emphasize that creativity is built gradu- gradually, not instantly. The article then discussed whether creativity is something we are born with, something we can develop. The author refers to research showing that most young children score very high in creativity, but this decrease significantly as people grow older. The suggests can creativity is often trained out of us through education and social expectation. Although although genetics do play a role, studies show that only a small part of creativity is determined by genius. Most creative ability can be developed through the learning and practice. Therefore, saying I'm just not a creative person is not a strong argument. Creativity is a skill that can be improved. Other important idea in the article is the concept of a worth mindset. People with fixed mindset believe their ability are limited and unchangeable. As a result, they avoid changing the fair failure. In in contrast, in contrast, people with a growth mindset believe their skill can improve through effort. They focus more on process than outcome. The author also explained that fear of in embarrassment and failure often prevent people from being creative. Many people are afraid of looking foolish or making mistakes. However, the article argues that most mistakes are not prerequisite and are part of learning. To become more creative, we must be willing to act even when we feel uncomfortable or unsure. In conclusion, the article clearly showed that creativity is not a sudden event or moment of inspiration. Instead, it is a long-term process that requires patience, effort, and persistence. Creative success comes from the practicing regularly, learning from failure, and staying committed to the process over time. As the author emphasized, creativity becomes real only when we continue to work, experiment, and improve. Thank you for listening.